The palace was quiet, too quiet. Guards stood where they shouldn't, their shadows stretching long and thin across the polished marble. Even the echoes seemed to hold their breath. In the grand chamber, the silence wasn't peaceful. It was the heavy, suffocating kind that presses down on your chest, making it hard to breathe. Queen Cinderella stood tall, her hands folded, her expression a mask of calm. But inside, every part of her was bracing for the impact. Silence, she thought, had once been her shield, her protection. But now, it was the very thing sharpening the blade aimed at her heart. Avoiding the truth had only made it more inevitable, more dangerous. She lifted her chin, a small, defiant gesture. If this was the moment everything came crashing down, she would not crumble. Not far away, the slave boy Euron stood where he did not belong, trapped between immense power and imminent danger. He could feel a guard's presence just behind him, too close for comfort. The king's voice, when it came, was unnervingly calm, almost gentle. "You have served in the inner palace," the king said, his eyes fixed on Euron. "Tell us, what have you seen?" The question was simple, but the trap was laid bare for all to see. Euron swallowed, the sound loud in the oppressive quiet. "I see what all servants see, your majesty," he replied, choosing his words with life or death precision. "Work, duty, silence." The prince, watching from the side, noticed Euron's hands. They were perfectly, unnaturally still. He knew one wrong word wouldn't just condemn the boy. It would drag everyone else down with him. The prince felt a cold dread settle in his stomach. This was no longer a game of observation. This was the consequence of his actions, playing out in real time. He watched the queen, not her regal posture, but the subtle rise and fall of her chest. He watched Euron, not listening to his words, but to the truths he so carefully avoided. "This is real," he realized, "and I helped bring it here." When the king's gaze flickered toward him, even for a second, the prince understood. There was no going back. The king himself listened, a master of his own game. He didn't interrupt or accuse. He let the silence do the work for him, watching who answered too quickly, who hesitated, who said nothing at all. Patience was his weapon, wrapping around the room like a tightening cord. "Interesting," the king said at last. Just one word, but it landed with the weight of a death sentence. Outside the chamber doors, life went on with a veneer of normalcy. Slave girls worked with forced, brittle smiles. "Have you heard?" one whispered, her eyes darting around. "Don't ask," another hissed back. "Just keep moving." A warning passed from person to person, faster and more urgent than any spoken word. "Be careful." Back inside, the king took a single step forward, his focus solely on the queen. "Queen Cinderella," he said, his voice still calm. "There are moments